Look, let's see if I can get through this. Because now I'm like, now I'm gonna giggle like a little girl. Oh my goodness. I've also never done the intro in front of people. Ready for this? Welcome, ghouls, demons, and fellow weird ones. Let's drink some moon juice. This is Rosemary. And I'm Sarah, as you guys know. Or I think you should know. I don't introduce myself in my videos. I just start going. I'm like, hey, this is what we're talking about today.
Yeah, with the caption.
Yeah, I don't put effort into that. I did start looking at AI doing descriptions, and some of them are actually really nice in like a helpful way for like the repetitive videos. So, like when you do clips and you're just wanting something to kind of be uniform.
Yeah.
To like, hey, like go and read like this podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that kind of helps.
Yeah.
Everything, but otherwise you're gonna get like a really
Or this one.
Yeah, no, all my captions are just so informal. And I'm like, I don't know if this is like helpful description or if
maybe
this
keywords.
is, well, not just the keywords, but it's just like, does this make sense? Am I sounding professional or am I sounding like
Grammar
a crazy lady who's just like, hey,
But I feel like that's also what's missing from AI is character.
lots of informalities, which has been like this whole journey is trying to figure out how to do it.
In your voice, like the tone that you want to like use.
Well, yeah, like literally everything. I get so nervous about all, like I hear, like not literally, but like I can hear all of the critiques and judgments of like, and so when I can't rewatch my videos most of the time. That's why it's like, hey, one take, ready, go, upload, never see it again. Oh,
Yeah.
so this is not new to you?
This is not new to me. I think I had like a very brief intro, and this was when I was in the wellness space.
Okay,
So
yeah.
like very deep down. I hope no one ever finds it. Not going to tell you the name of it. But I interviewed some like cool people and whatnot. When I would listen to the podcast, when I did solo, I never listened to it. But when I had a guest, I'd have to listen just to make sure, like, you know, there wasn't any like weird pauses or anything.
That's what the AI does. So it's Riverside FM is like the whole thing. Riley showed it to me. So that's like how he was doing his podcast.
Yeah.
That I thought I was being a guest of. Funny enough, he's in the wellness field. He's not a Virgo. He's an Aries stellium in the 6th house, which is all about wellness and Virgo energy. So he's a Virgo coded Aries.
Whoa.
He's a very interesting person. Aquarius rising, Leo moon. So yeah, we've been friends since we were in high school. You can see where we're friends.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of fun connections in that way. Yeah, so I thought of being a guest for his podcast and all the spiritual stuff that I helped him with.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Joke's on you! Like this is your podcast." And I was like, "Really?"
His own podcast?
Yeah, him and they call her Mac. I don't know her full name. Anyway, so he's like bodybuilder, fitness trainer guy, but he was an engineer. And he quit his job. Messaged me after not talking to him for like 5 years. And it was like, hey, been kind of seeing what you've been doing. And he started asking me like some questions. And I was just like, all right, this Libra eclipse last year. And so I was like, interested. Like, I was just like so interested about all of the things, right? Because of course before that's like, someone's coming back into your life. And I was like, they can stay the fuck away. Because I always feel that way. If I feel like a older presence, I'm just like, I don't have the mental capacity to deal with people from the past. It's a pleasant surprise. This wasn't a negative one. Yeah, like I honestly don't really know what happened. Like,
me and Alina, which is our mutual friend, I think there was like maybe a few years like when we both went off to college. There was not like a friendship breakup or anything. We just literally didn't like talk.
Yeah.
And then it just was like, no, here we are again.
Hi.
But it's like a thing too. I feel like also like, I don't know, when people come back into your life, if they've also grown, like,
oh
you
yeah.
know?
Riley and I have a really good friendship. We kind of dated in high school. It was stupid. It's high school.
That's what I mean. Stay that way though.
He's really cool in like, well, a like-minded person in that growth, which coming from like our small town, that was like so rare. So the fact that we've been able to
What are the odds?
doing that and like evolving from that, I think is really cool, especially to show people in our town that because they're so nosy and gossip.
Yeah.
That you keep track of everyone who ever left Farmington,
Yeah.
everyone who ever stayed is Matt. Like it's a really gross small town. Mm-hmm. And so I think the fact that we kind of like escaped that, but then we're also showing, because I know a lot of people who still like bring up some of the stupid high school thing. I was like, we were 17.
Yeah.
It was so dumb. And actually, here's the thing. We talked about it, like, in college. Like,
Yeah.
it was, like, years later, it was just like, hey, can we, like, kind of reflect on that? And that's, like, it's his Aquarius rising.
Oh.
But, like, I fully, like, just respect that. We're, like, a month and a half apart birthday-wise. So, we have a lot of similar energetic things. If we're going to go the astrology route.
Yeah. Wait, what is your rising moon?
Oh, I am an Aquarius sun, Leo moon, Cancer rising.
Oh, the Leo moon.
The Leo moon, yes. I'm not sharing the Leo moon aspect of things.
Is it Aquarius rising?
Yeah, I'm a Cancer rising. He's
Okay.
the Aquarius rising. But yeah, we've always had just like a really good dynamic. So that we've always been able to kind of have those like intellectually deep conversation. And so as we've grown up, we've had better conversations. And so yes, like we hashed out the high school stuff like in college where I was like, hey, yeah, we were seniors and it was just kind of like high school, you know? And I was like, no, I think we maybe should have just been friends. Like, if you're a really cool person to have, and I don't want to hate you just because, well, you're supposed to hate your exes. You're supposed to hate people that you dated because it wasn't like a fun breakup. It was stupid. It was immature. Like, the whole thing, I was in the wrong, he was in the wrong. It was a bad everything.
Yeah.
And we both had, like, a lot of trauma that we were dealing with. Like, just crazy. That's why I guess you could say it was trauma bond in a way. We saw each other in like really cool ways. And then like that kind of carried over into like all the things I'm doing for my business. Like to have him come back and like say, hey, like I've seen what you've been doing. I think it's really cool. And I kind of want like, I guess your help. I want your perspective. Like I was doing readings and stuff where I did a whole birth chart reading for him, which I was really surprised because I was like, you're going to make fun of me. You don't really believe in this. Like I was so scared of someone coming in to hurt me, especially someone who has hurt me in the past. Like that was like a whole thing, which I was like, I thought we were cool in it. But like once he was asking me to actually like engage my business services for him, I was like, you're a person from my hometown who is going to tear this up. You know, all the crazy thoughts. I was like, no, this is not anything like that. Like really put myself in a better state of mind with it. And then I did like a 46 page birth chart reading for him. I've done a few tarot readings for him. He's really helped me do all of this and even get back into like voicing on TikTok. Because like on TikTok, I used to like not really do the influencer thing. I never wanted to do influencer stuff. I was just posting my business on TikTok and having fun. Yeah. Like I treat social media like a photo album and a diary. Yeah. And like if it's not fun for me, I don't want to be on there. Yeah. You know, but then I grew a platform to shit. Yeah. I was like, all of a sudden I had like 4,000 or 5,000 followers, and I was like, too people are paying attention to me.
Well, then you start overthinking like everything you're posting, and you're like, I don't want to lose this now. There needs to be.
I wanted people to see my art. They weren't really. People like my candles. Yeah. Okay, I'm not saying people don't like my candles. I'm not saying it, but people really followed me because they were interested in me for one reason or another. Yeah. But then it got to a point where, people love me, and then people will switch how they feel because they're like, well, I really loved you for this, but then you did this. And like online is a really terrible space for polarity and nuance. And I was like, well, you like this philosophical anarchist video like that I talked about, but you don't like this one. But because you don't like,
please, that's like the other thing too. Like I feel like everyone on there expects everyone to be like this like perfection that doesn't exist, and like everyone like
no,
it doesn't exist. But also like when you're talking about those kind of viewpoints, there's not like a one size fit all protocol they would believe.
No.
So yeah, of course I'm gonna make you upset in some ways, and that's like okay. Like I probably don't agree with you fully, but I'm not gonna get all worked up. As long as you're not harming anyone else and you feel happy about it, then okay. Yeah. Well, and if you enjoy some of my content, fantastic.
And it was just like, it was just again finding the voice. Yeah. And then like I'm a confrontational person, and then like I'm also a really passionate person. Yeah. So if you don't,
and an empath.
Yeah. So if you don't know me, I don't think. And also, Chad commented on it. He's like, I watched some of your videos. This was like older. He hasn't quite seen it as much, but I was really starting to like talk. He goes, you can move things around how you want. He was like, there's like a disconnect. And it's not that you're fake, but something.
Just feel
Well, yeah, and that's because I was trying to not upset people. And I think the more that I tried not to upset people, the more I upset people. Because then things would also, or then I would be just talking like I do. And sometimes I'm not like aware of like exactly what I said in a way that like, so I would reply to people like in comments. That's like how it, and I still do it. But people leave comment. I'm too long-winded for your 24 character reply.
Yeah.
But I'm also trying to like build a community, and like these are long-winded answers. Like
Yeah.
I can't explain all of this in like 2 sentences. Like it's just impossible. And then at that, like a lot of time TikTok had like 3 minutes. I can't be in 3 minutes.
no.
And I'm like, okay, the best I can do is 9 minutes, and that's still, you're gonna have like a part 20 at that point. So it's just learning who I was. But people on TikTok, and then trying to condense that was really hard.
Yeah.
But then I'm replying to a specific person in a very specific way, in an incredibly specific context, to an audience of millions who are taking the time to know the entire story.
Yeah.
But then they're like, well, explain yourself.
But you don't. Oh, that's the other draining aspect where it's like you can like get caught up in it, and you're like, well, why am I even like trying to?
Which is Chad's main question to me the whole time. So I wrote a 15-page dissertation on. Well, this was one of the times. So I went viral, smally viral. It's up to like 50 to 70,000 views, which is still a lot. I would say. I think if honestly more than 20 people look at my stuff, I'm kind of like overwhelmed a little. And so it's like, wow, that was pretty big, and it wasn't for necessarily the most fun thing in the world. It was for things that because. It went viral because people wanted their 15. They wanted their 15 minutes of fame to shit on me.
Yeah.
And it was just this whole thing. I'm like, that is like it went from me not so nicely telling someone that they were a hypocrite. That's like that is the like flatline intention of it, which they were like, well, that's racist. It's like, no, I'm calling you a hypocrite. The direct thing that I said was, you're no better than a slave owner. That is the direct thing that I said. Do I know that was mean? And probably the worst thing I could say. Yeah, but I never denied that. I was like, listen, I was in a very heated debate with someone. That was like 50 comments, 3 other videos later. But everyone saw that. And then it turns into you think people are the same as pets. Like, or black people are like pets. Or like other people, minorities are like pets. Like I think they're less than. I don't know how. It twisted in this weird game of telephone. So that's why I was like, well, no, I need to explain myself because I'm not racist. But I was racist. Another time I got funny, ironically, I was then a poacher. So everything that I've done has been for like protecting animals and this complexity of we're all living creatures. And I think we all have a consciousness, and maybe their consciousness isn't quite the same experience as ours, but because in like witchcraft space, there's animal sacrifice. And all of these things, and you're trying to have this conversation of like what that actually means and what are like spiritual boundaries around that, and not just trying to be cool for Hollywood or TikTok, which a lot of people on TikTok like to be cool, you know. Like I was like, no, like you can't harming an animal. That's not sacrifice is sacred. That's just like I don't know if you were in the military, but I don't know if you were like I know Ohio's like big in hunting, so I don't know if you're in that culture a lot because I know it's big in Michigan. But there's that huntress energy where like Artemis. So like that's like that was the goddess perspective that I was kind of coming from at the time. No, she's like a mother of the animals, and she gifted you the hunt, and you're supposed to respect it. Like that's a very indigenous practice. Like you use every part of the animal that you kill for like it takes life to give life, and that full circle thing. So I'm trying to like go through all of this, and these people are justifying torturing animals for magic, and I was like, no. You can sacrifice an animal in a humane way without torturing them. And I was like, and specifically it was about drowning a mouse. And sorry if it's a very uncomfortable topic. But I was like, that's not sacred. That's not anything. And then it again blows up, and I'm talking about the unethics. I don't know if that's the right word. But the unethical behaviors and like this philosophy, and like if you're this voodoo practitioner that you're claiming to be, you should know that. And they're like, well, you're a white woman, you don't know anything. I was like, I'm not saying I'm black, but I'm a mixed person. yes, I'm like, and then it just kept getting worse. Because I was like, well, no, like my family, like I'm like a really blended person. Like I know I'm Irish. Like like I have a lot of
But
ethnicities.
you've also educated yourself. Like that's not just because you're not born into some kind of lifestyle practice doesn't mean you can't like learn from others. Yeah.
Because I was like, and that's another thing. They made fun of me because I was like, well, no, I've read a lot of books. That was a soundbite that went around. I read books, guys. I read books, and I was like, well,
It's ironic because people get upset when you don't educate yourself, and then when you try to educate yourself, you're coming off as like this, like you can't get in the cool kids club kind of thing. You're like, I'm trying to learn, like so I can make the best decision.
It was just like, so it just seemed like as like I feel telling this story, it seemed like because one is a long story, but then also the more I tried to manage it with all these people, so
it just gets messier. People like leech onto the like because it creates like a sense of desperation and like almost paints you in this light of like you're like asking them to approve of you, and you're like, no, that's not what I wanted, but that's what they like feel.
Yeah, I was like, no, I just want. I'm trying to be a genuine person.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to.
They hate that though, so
like it got so ugly so fast. But so yeah, and then another time is because like you're in my apartment. There's bones. Like I use animal bones, and so then it became this thing, and then I'm trying to explain how we lived in the country and there's dead animals all the time, and so like I had a graveyard, and I like my process, and then that became against some other law. So then I started talking about how that law was actually harmful to indigenous people because it creates a white middleman or a government system because you have to call a government agency for roadkill, and then they get to decide if an indigenous person or tribe can use the feathers for their practices. Or I could just bury it on my property and use the feathers for my own whatever. Or give it to people that I know use them. Whatever the situation is. There's so many different ways to take it. But so then I forgot what they called me. But like, so anyway, the whole point of all of that was every time I tried to like express this, it was just like met with so much hate, and I was like, I'm not a hateful person. Like, I'm really trying to come from, like, a place of love, and it's, like, I don't think I have, like, strong communication skills, and so I kind of, like, went really silent. So, full circle for everyone listening to all of this is Riley really helped me. This is the whole point. So, like, I'm going through all of this, and, like, Riley's not in my life at this time. I'm starting my business, but I'm going through all of this, trying to just, like, I guess embody myself as like as an author, a philosopher, a occultist, a psychologist, like all of these different interests that I have that are like controversial to talk about. Like you have to have an incredibly open mind. So we're talking about Pisces energy. Mm-hmm. That's the void. Pisces is like the infinite of ideas and possibilities. And so when you're trying to navigate philosophy, you're taking all these different perspectives, and then you're trying to draw a conclusion. It's not always going to come out perfect or pretty, and it's going to be messy, and then there's a lot of the inquiry, and then it's like, so it's all of these things. So I'm like trying to figure that out, and I'm really struggling, and I'm just kind of having my own pity party. I'm like, everyone just hates me, and so then I kind of just like, well, fine, if I'm your villain, whatever. But then I also like was like, I'm just not going to talk. I'm only going to write, because I felt that when I write, one, I have to take the time to really think about.
It also attracts a different audience.
Yeah. Huge difference. Because if you read, you are patient to get to the point.
You read books.
Like to this day, I can't. I was just like, what do you want me? Do you want me to spend 20 hours spelling out every book to you that I've read?
Yeah.
Like, what?
But like that's what I like writing too, because I just feel like I'm able to articulate and you can backtrack and be like, this is what I've said. You can source, you can take the time, and obviously there's like bias in who is presenting material visually in video. Mm-hmm. So in a written paper, oftentimes if people don't like know where it's coming from, they're just reading an essay of some sort. Maybe they're creating less bias from it already.
Oh yeah, so here's the people. There was bias just in how I looked. They called me Party City Witch. Because in the video that I'm talking in, I have a garden hat on that's like my witchy hat. It's like somewhere in the corner, but I had it for the garden. It was for fun.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, "Ooh, parties, miss who thinks." It was crazy how like, cause it was the spiritual community was like, "You're not a real spiritual person,"
Yeah.
and it was just all this stuff, and it was like, it like literally all these directions. So like, I kind of like cocoon up a little bit, and I'm like, I'm only expressing myself in ways that are safe,
Which is a fair response.
I would thank you. Here's the thing. It wasn't just like, oh, people don't like me. It was, I got death threats. I got kicked off of Etsy. I got banned from events in Michigan. They went to, like, I mean, you know, my background's in the health, occupational therapy. I struggled to get an OT job. Like, I had this digital, which, here's the thing. I knew I would have a digital footprint. I was prepared for all of these things. It's kind of, I've been warned about this my whole life. My family has told me since the moment I got my MySpace page that I needed to chill out because I drew attention with what I would say. Cause like I'm a poet and I'm this and I'm that. And then people didn't like the emotional response, or I really think I can make people think about things in a way that makes a lot of people
I'm
uncomfortable.
just gonna say, yeah.
So it's like, okay, so you made a really good point, but I don't like the way that you said it. Fair. I've really been trying to work on saying things in a way that's as least offensively as possible. Like I want it to come from a place of love.
Also, like, it's your experience. Like, I know things that I've written about, and even in my podcast, that I'm like, this is strictly from my experience. My viewpoint does not mean that is the word of law. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the things I'm saying are because I was influenced by something that I read or heard or experienced. And so you're going to come in, it's like kind of like a relationship, right? Like you're showing up with like this entirely different background, trying to mesh these two. Like, it'd be kind of weird and freaky if it was like the same blueprint. Like, it's just not possible. Like, you should have some challenging points, and that's how you grow as a person in conversation. Like, I think good conversation is not ones where we agree back and forth together, but it's when you make me think of something that I didn't think of before.
Mm-hmm. And vice versa. I love when someone gives me something to go like either rabbit hole down or just like meditate on.
Yeah.
I really like that. Like this, so all these experiences of being canceled, I did teach me that.
Mm-hmm.
The one lesson that I refused to learn until Riley forced me off the cliff is that I wasn't like putting my voice back out there. Like I learned like, okay, like I can say things this way, but like because one of the things is someone did reach out and was like, let's do it live. Let me give you a chance to explain yourself. And like we had a really good conversation. She was a I can't remember her practice. I think it was like a version of Santeria. There's a word that I'm not ocean. Anyway, it's like she lives in Florida, but it's like a Caribbean, I believe. I could be very wrong on that. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth again.
Yeah.
But anyways, we did a live and I explained myself. And here's the thing. Through explaining it, I was like, she's like, oh, because she is, you know, an ancestral practitioner of this. And so she was like, let's like backtrack. And so she was like educating me. I was like, no, I already know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, I think surprising. It was like, no, I already have the
read books?
education. Yeah, I read books about this. Spent time in New Orleans, not a whole lot of time, but when I was there, I made sure to go to very specific places because I wanted very specific knowledge and experiences.
Yeah.
You go to New Orleans for very specific things, right? Mm-hmm. And I love that whole spiritual culture. That's what drew me there. I would love to go. It's one of my favorite places. She's like, so like I'm sitting there and she's kind of like, it becomes a point where everyone's like talking down to me, even in the comments. They're like, oh, look, she's sitting there so patiently and listening like a good little girl. And I'm just like, no, like I'm kind of dumbfounded that you think that I'm dumb. And I'm kind of like processing how you're speaking to me because I thought this was going to be a more intellectual conversation. Because I was like, yeah, everything that you're saying is what I said. I just said it in like not in the nicest way because I had a reactive response to a very specific person in a heated argument, which is not necessarily, I get that. Like I have apologized so many times for it. But to sit there and be like, you're not witnessing me as like a human being. And that's crazy. Like you don't, like, because I guess it's also because people just like talk about it. Really thinking, especially now. I don't just
think about if this was like an in-person event with these people. I don't know.
It would.
I
would have gone away.
Like, I just letting it go is, I think, is like the key point here because it's just like they're getting what they want if you get riled up in that way.
Yeah.
It's just, and that's I don't know. I've never had an experience to that level, but I was like bullied when I was a little kid, kind of thing. So like, I think from early on, I just was like, I don't know, like just have to remember like people are coming from backgrounds as well that where they felt belittled, and that's their way to like feel some kind of power over someone, and so like sending them grace and love, but also like I don't have to be in this space or entertain it. But and like finding where your voice is heard somewhere else.
Yeah, and like that's kind of like one. So writing that paper, that was one of the first like long papers that I wrote, and I kind of like I said, being able to do that and really sit with even what like what will here. It made me question like what. Well, hold on. What do I actually think?
Yeah,
I
because you were like filtering yourself so much that you're like, whoa, where is me again?
And that was really like so like
Yeah.
there's all those like healing and then like just confidence like okay I kind of had like a Legally Blonde syndrome
Yeah.
my whole life.
Yeah.
Everyone thought Elle was super dumb, and then look at her graduating top of her law school. So like
Yeah.
I definitely have that. I think a lot of women. So I think that there was a lot of different reasons, and I kind of got to see the full spectrum. Which so I'm an Aquarius in the 8th house, so to me that was very 8th house energy. My main point was it was not fun.
Yeah.
It was not fun to experience, and like I did shell up a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, I needed to protect myself because I was getting death threats.
I mean,
So-
how could you not even death? I mean, that's terrifying, and that is like the sad truth of the matter.
Yeah.
But like, how could you not react that like people get upset when you retreat too, and you're like, what do you want me to do at this point?
I felt like I was the clown, the
Yeah.
star clown.
Yeah, it's like you're upset when I'm here, you're throwing a fit when I'm not, and I'm just
Yeah, I'm not here for your entertainment.
yeah.
Kind of like the
Yeah.
vibe of it, and I was like, you're missing what I'm trying to do. And then I was like, it just became this whole thing. So I was like, I don't want to rebrand because I don't believe in I'm not trying to hide. I'm not trying to like sweep this under the rug.
No, and you
Like-
believed in your brand. So why
Yeah.
wouldn't you just
And then-
discard it? That's not the reason why things, you know.
And that's kind of like like the whole the whole conclusion is like all of the things that I used to or I was starting to like voice on like TikTok and these like little short takes and this
Yeah.
and that. Riley was like I'm sending in voice notes to like Riley, which I send to a lot of other people,
Mhm.
and things like that, or like long paragraphs, so whatever it is, or 3-hour coffee dates, you
Yeah.
know. And so he was like, "These need to be on podcasts," and I was like, "No, I've put my voice out there before. No, thank you."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, so I think you've really started to like you're onto something. I think you need to do it imperfectly
Mhm.
and like this has helped me so much." And
We'll
he,
say podcasting along with writing is a little bit different too,
Mhm.
especially when there's no video involved. But like totally, but like I just think on like mass social media when like responses are so quick and like you can see everyone else's likes and all that, like it's a bandwagon feeling. When podcasts, you have to intentionally go to that single podcast and listen to it. And if you're pouring that much time and energy into it, you probably resonated with it in some way. You're not just clicking on it because you just want to shit on them. You know what I mean?
and that's where I was like, oh, because like I refuse to do YouTube. Here's the thing, I refused to do TikTok for a long time until I got forced into
Yeah.
doing that.
Do anything like there's so many options. Just that's why I chose Substack because I like writing the most. But like I don't know, there's just so many different like puzzle pieces that you could choose. Like you don't have to do.
And that's I think what it's kind of been like. What
Yeah.
platform works? That's where YouTube kind of threw Riley YouTube man because I saw him posting about it and he just kept repeating that like I need like a long-winded platform. And he goes,
Yeah.
you need a space where
Yeah.
people can take the time to digest it.
Or
They're not,
intentionally listen.
yes, they're not doing that on TikTok or Instagram or anything like that.
Mhm.
But I was like, well, my whole point was to use it to draw people to my website.
Mhm.
To then have like,
Which the long form is probably best for you because they understand your personality more and the reason behind. Like it just makes sense.
yeah, because
Yeah.
put me in 3 minutes.
Yeah. No, I can't. I truly cannot.
We get accomplished.
Yeah.
Nothing. And so like, and also it's funny enough. So because I started the AI that does like the different
Yeah.
clips,
Yeah.
and it's sound bites, which I didn't want, but it does. It draws people into it, so trap you. But like people will be like, "Word salad." I'm like, yeah, in 3 minutes. If you weren't there from the beginning,
Yeah.
you had no idea what this
Yeah.
meant.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Riley's like,
We haven't even completed the circle yet, guys.
Oh yeah, see, and this is how it goes. And I don't know how to talk any other way because, like, and I was explaining this to Riley because he, after our first podcast, and he's like, "See, you did it. Now that it's over with." And I did. I came out of it really believing myself. It was such a loving gesture. He's like, "Sarah, I'm forcing you to do this because I know how much you've helped me, and you know how much you've helped my sister. Like, that I would put all of our
It just
voices."
makes sense.
Oh
It
yeah.
makes so much
And he's
sense.
like, "I don't know what you're doing." He goes, "You're spinning your wheels in every other fucking direction
Yeah.
except this direction." And I was like, I don't know
At
what.
least you.
The blockage, I think, was. I think it really came down to like being sane. I could have been misunderstood my whole life, which that ties into the family drama that like came up yesterday, and all these, which that was stuff that's been brewing since 2020, and you see the full circle. So that's why things take forever. Cycles are long-winded. So things that are just now closing out with that, which I think is also related to the timing of me being on a platform where I can be a little bit more long-winded with my story times.
Both stories come back to challenge you while you're taking the first step.
Yeah, because that was a big part of the conversation with my family. Is it's like, well, I'm doing this kind of with or without you, and I blocked you. That was why they were upset. It's because I blocked them on social media without telling them, which is my fault. Like, it's a layered thing, right? Because I have a very complex family history and everything, but they weren't supportive and they were demonized. It's very similar to like the cancel.
It's so interesting that you like feel bad for blocking them and they're getting upset with you, but obviously there was a reason why you had to block them, and yet you're the one who's still apologizing for setting that boundary. I just want you to take a moment. Like, do you hear this right now?
Yes, and
Okay.
so remember I told you like I've been processing, and
Yeah.
like, because that was the whole thing. Again, it goes back to it's all of these things of how many times I have expressed something with the intention of being like loving, healing, and it just getting so blown out of proportion. Like the whole family drama, it's very similar. It all mirrors.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like there's just a continuous pattern of you feeling like you have to explain yourself, which maybe that's a huge.
Which I don't know how not.
Well, this is going to keep coming up until you can like fully sit with just like.
I would have said.
The courage should be just like, if you're not truly like harming someone or like you're not sending them like bad, like you're not shitting on them, I guess. You know what I mean? You're just truly just shining your own light over here. You don't have to apologize for that or ask for them to see it. If they don't want to see it, they don't have to see it. But like, you don't have to explain. Like, it's the same thing with like the whole TikTok chaos that was in the same family. Like, I think there is some kind of pattern connection there.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like there doesn't have to be a disclaimer after you say something. Like, it can just be like that is my truth.
Mic drop.
That's all I have. And like, I think the right people come back into your life or that stay in your life. And that's like the whole point, I think, of like aging too. It's like finding your chosen family and community. And because you're learning more about yourself. If you are truly like taking the time to do that. But I do think these things are going to keep repeating. And it just drains you. It seems like it drains you every time you talk about it. You know, it never feels like it's like it's never going to be resolved because you're trying to control other people's responses. And you just can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's because it ties into like the fear of not being successful for who I am, because that's like that's like the I guess the seed with my family is that you can't be who you are and be successful because of all these societal like reasons. I know my family come from a place of love, and that's what's really hard about it. And I think that's why I get so conflicted because I'm like, I know in your own way, you love me. I don't think that you do because you're not loving me for me. You're loving me for what you want me to be. And what you want me to be is something that you feel is safe because you don't feel safe any other way. Where here's the thing, I don't feel safe. I'm just bold.
Yeah.
Myself out there and like, I fumbled publicly. I have fumbled pretty fucking hard.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
And like that's what like my family, because like they were like, well, you need an army of support. I was like, yeah, you guys watched me fumble and then you told me like I told you so and you agreed with the internet. You were an army, you didn't have anything, you were behind me. And it felt very much Braveheart. Like, I felt like they were King Bruce, like when he took off. I don't know if you've seen Bruce.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know when he finds
Yeah.
out that it's his like best friend, and like he just like stumbles in the field. Like we rewatched that movie last year, and I like forgot that like just Mel Gibson, that look of shock on his face has haunted me through this whole thing, because that's like what it feels like in a lot of ways. And so to close out the Riley thing, that sorry, I just want to get rid of that.
Yeah.
So that's what he basically
Yeah.
did through that.
Healing a part of you that.
He's known me since my inner teen, and he was victim of my inner child in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And he still saw me through the imperfections, because like he knows my heart.
Yeah.
And he's like, let me help you. And it was really
It's
cool.
really healing.
And so being able to have like long-winded conversations, or not be afraid of it, and like do these like one takes. There's like a lot of my candle stories I'm finding, like I'll be like, well, that's in there.
Yeah.
And so it is kind of like a letting go. But then I think like it's like he tells me it's 100 dirty reps. You just got to keep practicing, and people start to get to know you. And it's okay. It's okay to not be liked. But I think like I'm worried about my message getting tainted, especially with the instability of the world. Like I don't like one thing that I said to one of my friends is I don't want to be a Charlie Kirk to someone else, and that could be taken multiple directions. And however you feel, like that was a huge thing. It's a little bit different when maybe like someone put like the president is this like like those are like different levels, like where I think Charlie was more of an average person. He wasn't like an average person. Like
what was that? Was that him?
Was it?
It sounded like this like
that was very scary. Like
what?
Dude, that it sounded like something fell. That's trippy.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway, so it was just like it's this conversation around how people are speaking and being like having these conversations of ideas, and like because I want it to be unifying, I don't want it to be divisive. And so when I say something that ends up being divisive, I think that's why I can't let it go, because I think it's like no, I need to fix the division.
Yeah, but
because the division is how I think I get so anxious in the fact that I think we're all like that time on social media, but you know what
I understand what you're saying. You know what you mean, because I also get anxious when I upset someone, or if they're not like if they think I did something out of ill intent like that. I definitely get anxious about that, because I'm like that was definitely not my intention. But, like, I guess to my point is, like, if you're putting out something with the intention of, like, unifying or just, like, spreading some kind of message or education, rather, around something, and people still don't agree with that, that's not your responsibility. Make them feel okay. Because, like discomfort is a normal thing and something that everyone should experience. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at like the person you become from discomfort. And it's not like you intentionally are trying to cause these people discomfort. If that was the case, have a hard look at yourself, right? And it's ironic that those people are trying to cause you discomfort by the words that they're saying. But I guess what I'm like saying is if someone doesn't agree with you and they're getting very upset with that, when your intention was truly just speaking your authentic and it wasn't a harmful message at all, it just was like a viewpoint that they don't agree with, what can you do about it? Because to like try to make them happy is going against your own authentic truth and voice, and that's more harmful than anything else, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and that's kind of like that's where I think, especially now, it's even more like long-winded. I think it's because like it's been suppressed for so long, and so then there's like all this coming out.
Well, I get the fear with your background, and also just like the landscape that we're in now isn't where it was like even 10 years ago. Like it's not normal to be exposed to that many people with all these different opinions. And
it's like, okay, yeah, we're in this environment where we have all these perspectives. We need to have like I don't know what I want is I want to create like a safe space. I hate that phrase. It's just like it's gotten so you know, but like I want to create an environment just generally where people feel safe to have really uncomfortable conversation with the intention of healing. Like, because there's so many examples, especially in my like field of like mental health and things like that. I've seen people who it goes back into the shadow. So you suppress and you suppress and you suppress, and then it comes out in horrible ways. When like maybe if you weren't shamed into suppressing it, and maybe if you were able to talk about it when it first presented itself, you could have an easier guidance through processing it, healing it, letting it go. I think a lot of the bad things in the world are results of not just suppressed shadows, but like they're not being, you can't say something absolutely unhinged and wild without judgment or ridicule.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, like this is a horrible example, but it's like the best one. If someone is going through puberty or what, I don't know when like pedophilia like hits people in their brain, but if they had a time that maybe when they're like young, they talk about it, like, hey, I had a really crazy thought. I don't know where that's coming from. It makes, because like that has to be uncomfortable. You know that that's not right in society. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't think that people aren't aware of their, like when people play dumb to some of their negative, horrific things, you know, like the worst expressions of humanity. You are not ignorant to the fact that that's horrible because it's very obvious from the time that you're born that, hey, this is not cool. There's reasons for it. But if there's also a reason, I think, why it comes up, whether it's a physiological illness in the brain, like it's a genetic thing. I don't know. We don't know what causes that necessarily. We have a lot of theories. But I think if it is something that's genetic, something in the brain, or like even just like psychopathy, however you would pronounce that, but just like people who have, it's like
wherever.
People with just like any type of horrific mental health condition. So whether it's like they're a sociopath or a psychopath, or like pedophilia, like all of these like pretty severe, harmful mental things that generate horrific expressions. I think if people are able to talk about it more openly when they're younger, when it starts to happen, without shame, they could be healed. Because, like, I don't think pedophilia is normal.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
just an everyday thing.
Yeah, I think that there's something that causes it, whether it is nature or nurture. We don't know, but I also don't think we know a lot about it because it's pushed aside. Like a lot of things are like shoved down. And I think in modern society we've been trying to like lift the rug of like all the things we swept under there, and now we're trying to like clean up.
Well, that's what I'm saying about like people are gonna feel uncomfortable or discomfort by some conversations and debates, and like that is okay. Like even in your safe space, I think it's like okay to have a debate or opening up a conversation of two opposing
like discourse, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Whatever happened to just like I feel like you can learn so much from another person when there's not that ill intent from either sides, and if there is someone coming from a background where they feel very lost, confused, judged, and their defense is just to close up because every time they've tried to have a conversation, they've just been shut down or hated on, and there's some fine lines, right around those kind of things too, and like where to hold your compassion, I guess. But if that's like the kind of space that you're creating, like I think it's not normal, but not realistic to have like this lovey-dovey community where like nothing ever is said.
There's no rough feathers or ruffle.
Yeah, because like then you probably all just placating in some kind of way.
Right.
Like even us, we have discussion earlier. I'm gonna say something that is really mean, even though it really wasn't. Like you're settling or something like that. It's like okay.
Well, like I never hurt anyone's feelings, but like I also know that like we have to have like harsh conversations
to grow. I honestly, I'd probably be more upset with you if you just like agreed with everything I said because it's not really helping me.
See, thank you. So I don't find that a lot. It seems like I'm always the disagreeable one or the argumentative one, and I'm not like really trying to be like. And this sounds crazy, but like I care so much that I just want to make sure that like you thought about like I want to make sure that
that's how I know someone really cares about me, though. Like, it's like you are like that, and like Alina, like it's that kind of like tough love, like reality. Like you're not trying to create a community where it's like sunshine and rainbows. You're trying to open the discourse to like these difficult conversations.
And it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
It's like that's where I've like really struggled in like navigating it, because like where do we go with all of it, you know? Especially when like what again, it's just an open conversation. And how can people, I guess I want to teach people to detach from like those perspectives. Let's get home.
Gotta quote me.
Yeah, you can't have like good quotes out there and then not be on video. But yeah, no, like I don't engage with people who are comfortable with discourse a lot in the way that I was. My family definitely wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So to like, as I was saying when we were off camera, like to reintroduce myself into this space like over and over again.
Yeah.
With the struggle of discourse and I guess me learning how to fine tune these really complex philosophies, perspectives, principles, and everything. So you're like, I love discourse. I'm like, oh
yeah. Well, and I will say, something I've noticed and like why. So I mentioned Substack, but like I think it's just a great new platform for like writing. But I think more people are creating or longing for long form content again because our attention spans are just terrible. Like it's so funny when I'm like on social media, like on Instagram, and I'll see an ad for an app. It's called The Brick, but it's like a basically a social media blocker or like something because we've just gotten to the point where we don't have control, like self-control to just like get off the app. We have to use like an actual other app, ironically, or like an object to like actually block us out of this thing. Because I think,
about that.
yeah, because like we're all like it's kind of crazy. Even like the studies are coming back, and something that I've have reflected on in my own like creative worlds with like songwriting and whatnot. I think about I've been doing this for 4 years now, like songwriting, and I think about when I first started. I wasn't on TikTok, Instagram. I think I went like dark mode for like the first 6 months when I got into songwriting because it was just a hard time.
Yeah, right.
But I think about like where my focus was, and I was like, you know, so much more tapped into like I would write a song and I would like feel through the song and just like write through it. But now I feel like I'm inundated with all these distractions with like having to promote myself as an artist, comparing myself as an artist, and then just like wasting time on there. So when I try to write a song and I get stuck on something, my reaction is just to go to this quick, easy hit. And like you're literally training yourself to replace these long form containers for dopamine into those quick hits, you know, like exercise, good conversation with friends, reading a book, like something that makes you work for the actual result is being replaced with these quick one-offs that we're just feeling so disconnected with ourselves now. And I mean, why do you think everyone's so violent in the comments? Because we're all just like trying to like fight like this like nagging feeling of like this isn't.
Sorry, I was like, it's probably like a dopamine withdrawal. Like you're talking about like
That's what I mean. And it's like you're just like we're like slowly disconnecting from the real world. And I'm actually ironically writing a letter on Substack about this, but
always read it.
The headline is called Known by the Birds. Or no, it's called To Be Known by the Birds. And I just like had this moment and I was like sitting in my backyard, like having lunch midday. And I wanted to like take a picture and like share it on my Instagram because I just thought the moment looked so beautiful. But I didn't have my phone. And in that moment I was like, I can like witness this moment and it still means something without having to like share it with the world. Like it's still valid that this is like a very special moment. And I think we've just created like this idea or like responsibility that we have to like be validated by everyone else that we're living a good life. But like we can just live the good life and like share the parts that we want to, but like if someone doesn't approve of it or if someone doesn't see that moment, that doesn't mean it didn't happen. It doesn't mean that you're not living it. Does that make sense?
No,
but the long form is very much, I think, fits into that because, yeah, I think we need to like go back to like thinking, like doing more like research and like taking the time to digest topics rather than just like I saw this 1 minute thing of something and that therefore all my opinions will be based on that.
For the next week.
Yeah, that one consolidated little tidbit is like that's what we're pulling our information off of now. And like to your point, you said earlier how like someone could listen to 3 minutes of this podcast, like, no context, and make this judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what is happening with all these short forms of content. Is like we only see like this maybe beautiful moment, or we only see this like terrifying moment, and we think that is like the full picture.
Yeah, like we're multifaceted, complex human beings, and I particularly, very specifically, do not put me in a fucking box of any. Do not label.
That's what short content like really does like start to do that, because then you feed into the algorithm of what's working, and then you just only show that one aspect of yourself. And that's what I'm trying to figure out as far as like marketing as an artist, and it's not fun, but
so I've struggled with that approach so much, where it's like I'm just gonna do the authentic approach and not the cheesy authentic approach, but like genuinely just like. And I think I've embodied it more now, where if I don't like it, I don't do it. Like, I really just, like, I will not post for days, weeks. I really quit caring. Through the journey, I've cared a lot, and I've tried, and then I'm just, like, it's every time I betray myself in that, like, that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm betraying myself, because I don't give a fuck about this song. I don't give a fuck about this or that, or I don't want to say this, or I don't care to put this out there. But there's this obligation, and there's pressure from, like, because that was something that really came up, and especially when I really got, like, super canceled, like, the worst one, that was, like, the criticism. And people are like, she doesn't fucking listen, because I wasn't replying to the comments. I told them, I'm not replying to your stuff comments. I'm not doing it. But I was like, fuck. Where did I go? My brain just was like, what happened? Oh, they're like, you should be using your platform for good. And I was like, well, I didn't think I wasn't. I didn't think I was doing this for bad. And I was like, so what does that mean? And it's like, well, people want to listen to you. People want to pay attention to you. So why aren't you giving them something more to pay attention to? And like Chappell Roan's been through, a lot of celebrities been through this, but Chappell Roan was a huge thing, like last year, like with Palestine and all that stuff. Like, you can only be so informed. And but then I feel like for spiritual people, there's like an extra pressure, because people are so skeptical. It's like, oh, well, you're psychic. Like those things, or like you're a philosopher. Like me, I use spiritual and occult practices, because occultism is the study of the unknown. That's a lot of things. I want to learn what I don't know. I want to learn the truth, and I don't think we know what the truth is. And I think we're spiritual beings. We have a soul, so I'm gonna look into spirituality, but like it's not in a lot of ways. It's packaged now, because America's a big mall. And I think everyone is, like, we are the product, and we are branding and packaging ourselves through social media, and not just, like you said, living your life. But I think it's personally conspiracy time. It's like been implanted, because for me,
I mean, like, it was like literally a gut response of like, let me share this. But it's like, am I seeing it with my own eyeballs, and like truly like feeling this moment of like, and that's what I mean by like, people are like craving that more, because we're seeing the effects now. And there's like, you know, devil's advocate is like, people meet each other like through social media, businesses can grow through social media, you can learn things through social media. It's a beautiful, it's the way we use it is where we're starting to, and like redefining like how to use it is, I think, what a lot of people are waking up to. And it sounds like I have, and I mean, there's not a week that goes by where someone tells me to get on TikTok and post my songs every day. But I'm like, people who connect through my analog newsletter have shared my music more, and have like reached out to me far more than someone who just scrolled through. I post on there maybe once a week, because I'm like, sure, why not? Like, it's in that moment, kind of like how you're saying, like, it just feels like, sure. But I think challenging the status quo of like, do I have to do this, like, because it's like aligned with, and I'm like overcoming a fear of my own of like being seen, or am I doing this because I think other people think I'm a failure if I don't, like that kind of thing. It's the validation key where I think a lot of people get stuck. Even if people aren't business owners, I see this people literally sharing their life, and they just compare, and if they don't show like these pretty pictures, then their life doesn't mean anything.
Well, I think like a lot of people, that's why they have kids, which is really weird. Like, it's the reason to do anything. Like, seriously,
Who does that?
child so I can post them. I watched documentaries about
That's crazy.
like moms being horrible like social media managers and putting their kids through stuff. And it's become because of money. Because people, and here's the thing.
It's very lucrative, and it's like what's enticing about it is you just never know.
Yeah. And like that's kind of like how I started. Like I was against TikTok for a variety of reasons, mainly because I just didn't want another fucking app to deal with.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I still read MySpace. Okay, if we could have yes, that part I don't know how I would deal with that because that sounds messy. But we handled it so well.
Yes. We did.
It's crazy. Like I mean, there was a little drama, but not a huge drama. But
I mean, I think also everyone is just like blown so much out of proportion that I don't know. I think use the tools, but on top of that, create what you want to create, and that seems like the long form content is your wheelhouse. So why not just keep doing that?
Yeah, that I've like denied because I just felt really uncomfortable in it because I think it's a long processing time. So the astrologer that I worked with that kind of really started planting the seed as I already started my business, and then after that I started working with an astrologer because I just felt like I needed an external perspective outside of myself because like I get really in my head and I really question if I'm insane or not and like what I'm perceiving and all. So
I feel like when you have those thoughts, it usually means you're onto something though.
yeah, and I wanted, so she had helped me learn a lot spiritually. So I think it was great that I worked with her for the time that I did, but it definitely was an intention of like, I need external validation because I am so lost in
it's good to have like a mentor or some trusted.
Yeah, it was great. But she's like, one thing that I just constantly remember from the tarot readings and everything is it's like, you are afraid of, I guess, people going for the ride with your process. And she's like, not just like your process of everything, because everything is so layered. But then like you have to work through things intellectually out loud, and then you're picking it apart while doing it in real time, and people kind of can't always stay on board for that. And that's fine, but it's like I can't unless I'm writing. I can't get directly to the point because it's like, well, I have to process it's like a computer thing. So to me, it's like we're airdropping back and forth. And I'm like, okay, let me process this, and then let me.
Yeah, that's also why I like writing. I'm not gonna lie, because it allows me time to like sit with that. Have you heard of human design?
Yeah.
Do you know what you are? Do you know if you're what is it called? There's one where it's like a gut response. Do you know if you're an emotional authority or if you're
So my human design, I haven't dived into in a minute.
I think of all of these things just like tools.
Oh, same here. But I'm trying to think. So I know this ties into like what your potential. This ties into a few things. But so I'm a generator, and so I'm supposed to. It's like you're inspired, you do it, and it's not about being perfect.
And you can go for hours if it's something that inspires.
They're like, yeah, exactly.
And like people who are not often like can like shame that, but if you're put in the wrong environment and you're taking advantage of that.
And that's kind of what I've noticed. Like people will manipulate me into working really hard for them, and then I like lose track of and that's where like a lot of the crash outs happen, where I kind of realize like what the fuck is going on. But that goes into where social media is a good tool but also a bad tool for me because I can post like Riley was amazed. I told him, I was like, I'm posting like 9 to 15 videos a day.
That's crazy.
What? He was okay. Fuck me for any advice I was just gonna tell you. And I was like, but I was doing it in a really exhausting way. So then he taught me how to do it in a way that's not going to exhaust me. And then also kind of like a reality check. Like, you don't have to post so much. Why are you posting so much? Like, because I have to be successful. I have to get out there. Like,
you're putting out that like desperate.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All
of the things. But I'm just like, I'm so miserable in the day job in this other
like you're trying to like strangle the success to be like
girl,
I've been there
in this life.
I was in the health business before I let it go. I was
and
it's not cute.
Not cute, and it's not been a cute couple of years. And then they're trying to make it cute, but it's just.
But you're learning, and look, you're doing yours. Yeah.
But then also that's where I also get into like the negative side of it, where I don't think I'm doing enough, and
It's
I'm
like a
doing
big four moon.
too much, and then like which goes into over explaining. You're doing too much. You're doing too much, but I want you to stop, and it's like because
Well, you're also like basing your worth on your what is it called?
success.
Or output. Like if you have a chill day and you don't do anything, you're probably thinking I'm a shit person. I'm never gonna reach my goals.
I'm not allowed to take a rest day.
Yeah.
Never, because here's the thing. Even my rest days are active rest days, and I keep like I will sit on my dog bed.
Yeah.
'Cause that's where we lay down. I'll be cuddling with the dogs in their dog bed, and we're watching a movie, and the whole time I'm like, I could post it like 3 TikToks right now. I could do that, and then I'm like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
You
And I
should
have
have
to
charge as an artist.
tell myself not to. But then I also get like, I have 17 books I self-published. I have 5 that I've been waiting to put out there, and it's like that's not enough. And then there are people who are like, I wrote 1 book and I've been promoting it for 3 years now, and I have not written anything else. And like, why don't you think you're doing enough? And I'm like, I don't know. I genuinely, I'm just always inspired all the time. So then I feel like I'm wasting a gift if I'm not.
I think like maybe challenge that too is like what would happen if you poured more direct energy into a few things rather than this whole, because I found this, and this is just something to consider, but when I was in the health space I took up many different little projects, putting energy here, and here, almost out of a self-sabotage thing, because I think subconsciously I didn't truly believe I could be successful in any of those areas. So I would just spread myself thin over and over, and it made me feel like I was doing a lot because I was always doing something. But if I would have probably just taken more time in one direction, like just focused on workshops or just focused on my one-on-one clients, I probably could have scaled that more and then took on. I mean, it's good to be multi-passionate, but I think staying busy is sometimes part of like a self-sabotage act as well.
Yes.
Like being busy is glorified in this, like, I mean, remember the girl boss?
Yeah.
I'm glad this is going away, but I have no room to talk though, because I always feel like I should be writing a song, like, even when I'm driving or like doing something else, I'm like, I didn't practice enough today, I need to go home and practice, like, I get it, it's a big reason why. I'm saying this out of my own, like, thought.
No, I'm
offering this up to you, take what you want.
No, I relate so much to that, but I think another thing for me is it's like, what I struggle with is because like I was like, well, I'm just focusing, like I say just, right? I'm just focusing on candles, and then everyone's like, you're gonna make a living just making candles, and I was like, yeah, and they're like, well, yeah, well, I was like, well, they're not just candles, like there's a lot that goes into them, and they take a lot of time, and this is actually like a lot of effort.
Yeah,
and then
it's like, think about like people who sell paintings. It's not like anything. People are like, oh yeah, they're a sculptor, they're a painter.
Yeah.
Like this, it's literally a piece of art. Like it's not just like I'm filling up this candle. Here you go. Like there's an intention, there's design behind it, there's craft behind it, there's knowledge behind it, just like any other piece of art.
Excuse me.
Confirmation call.
No, I was like, oh, that just was so sweet. Like you really, because like. Sometimes I don't think people see me. I don't think people.
This is nothing you find in Bath and Body Works. You know what I mean?
You haven't told me that though. They're like, I could get that at Walmart, or like people I think have like constantly just wanted to like humble me. That's kind of what it feels like, and then I feel like I don't know. I deserve to be humbled. Why? I don't know.
I mean, it is good to be humble, but like,
because I don't want to be arrogant, and I feel like I come across overly confident, and then
I never got that sense from you. I think you have come across like self-assured of like, this is what I know, and like I'm pretty damn good at what I do. But you're never like, I'm entitled to blah blah blah. You know, like.
That's like, and I'm not saying I haven't been that way in my past, but I've always like feared. I don't want.
Well, that usually means you're a humble person. If you're afraid of coming off as arrogant, I don't think you're.
Yeah, so then when people humble me, I was like, yep, needed that, because, you know, I'm pretty.
It feels that, if anything, but I also think your long form content can like explain the story behind, even just like you shared with me like this collection over here and like the names of it, and like even to describe how that came to be. It's like when you asked me about like my songs or like the backstory of it, it's the same thing. It's like every piece of art has some kind of like backstory, lesson, energy infused to it that makes it more valuable than this thing that was poured out and sold for $5 in Walmart, I probably don't want to know the backstory of that. If I did, I probably wouldn't want to buy it.
Yeah, right. Which
So-
is one like YouTube cut. That's how it started.
Yeah.
Riley started his YouTube, and then I was like, or his podcast. I was like, you know what? I used to set up the camera and do candle stories and explain that. But then again, I got to where I just wouldn't talk on camera, and I would write. So then I was writing them, and then that was like, that's a longer form. That takes more time to sit down and write all of them. Took more time, and then I didn't feel like people were getting. Like, this is where I think I need to talk.
Well, I was gonna
You know,
say,
like, it was kind of interesting how
I'm gonna think about like structuring episodes and like themes and whatnot. And so like even just like opening episodes, maybe people will enjoy this, but like what are you working on? What's the collection of candles you're currently working on? What's like the theme behind it? Is there like some kind of theme the collective can tap into? And that was like the intention behind the candle, like opening up with that. Because it's like, I mean, literally right when I walked in here, like today, I was already looking at your candle collection, and that was where our conversation started. You're like, Joe made this new collection, and I was like, so cool. And then we got to talking about things related to that, and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Doesn't have to be like a sales call. I was truly interested behind like you even explaining the containers of a candle. I was like, that's a cool story. You told me the name of a candle. I was like, I want that candle now. Because it's a different intention. And it's just like how I'm saying, like, people are craving like this long form content. It's because people are like craving like connection again. I want to feel connected to the objects in my home, and I want to support smaller artists and local artists, and like the food that I get, the things that I buy. Like, I want to know the story behind it, like feel connected to that. I'm not a perfect human being at all, but consumerism is very real.
It kind of forced your hand.
But I want objects that I can like connect to and feel the intention behind it is like a small little glimmer throughout my day that like grounds me back into like the world I'm living in. Like knowing where I got my tomatoes made my egg scramble like a whole different vibe for me today.
I love that, like, so I guess so excited because that's like we were talking about like the message that I've been trying to send.
Yeah.
In a summary of it, it's like I kind of teach from a place that everything is alive or has a consciousness, and that's what I mean. I talk to literally all the candles. They have their own spirit. That's why they have names.
See,
it's
that's
a spirit.
cool.
But like I literally speak intention, I guess, into everything, and everything has its own. What is it like? It's not humanification. There's a word for it.
Personification?
Is it person?
No, I don't think it is, but I know what you mean.
There's a
like
literary
making a
term.
pencil like an actual like
Yeah, like
living.
especially like yeah. So there's all these different things, but that's like where it comes from. Because I feel like that what you're talking about disconnection. I think social media
But treat things a lot different if we
Yeah.
knew the story behind it.
Yeah, and I don't think we judge people too harshly. Like, there's people who don't think I've been through anything in my life, and then there are people who like think I should go through more or whatever. Like, and people make judgments for all kinds of different reasons. But that's also why I think I like all the things that I like. I'm a storyteller,
Yeah.
and then I also like
That's what I
hearing
mean.
stories, and like again, it ties to my family conversation where I was defending myself. As was like, well, I don't have the same rigid views, like religious views that you have.
Yeah.
Religious views.
I was gonna say balloons.
But because like I see the story in everything.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing.
And I was like, I don't think I should be ashamed for it, but I was like, I think my spiritual path ties into my purpose of storytelling and being a writer.
Yeah.
And then also through the story that I tell through just like literally
Art. It's art. Yeah. That is by definition, I think art is like telling a story in some way. You know?
Thank you. Sorry, I'm just having a like realization about myself in this whole
Good.
like rebirth. I'm talking about often run things like that, where just like I'm seeing myself in a more genuine way. I'm not.
I think the thing, like, more, I think it's just so interesting, like, hearing you talk about, like, I'll get to that point, but I don't think you, like, have fully, like, you're doing the thing. You know what I mean? You are doing the thing that you want to be doing. You are doing it. You're making the art. You're selling the art. You're talking about the art. You're telling the story. Like you are embodying this person that you've wanted to be.
I'm so mean to myself that I
Yeah.
can't accept that until I reach an unimaginable level.
Mm.
Because because a few people told me that Chad kind of like tries to calm the chaos that can be my meltdowns at things. But it's like I have a high standard for everything in general, and then I guess I know my mountaintop,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not enjoying climbing it, even though I am enjoying climbing
Yeah.
it. But because I am constantly having to recenter myself into not just the present, but like those reminders, like, wait, where's this imposter syndrome coming from?
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
You
I've
are.
been doing
Yeah.
it.
The mountaintop is always going to be like a notch up. You know what I mean?
It's like a Carrot Stick situation. You're
Yeah.
gonna torture yourself because guess what? The mountain is always gonna grow.
Yeah.
It's just like in a video game, how like you're playing those old school video games,
Yeah.
and it just keeps regenerating.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the point of this? Oh, it's to get more quarters.
Yeah. No, I definitely like had that moment when I released the song like 2 weeks ago now or something.
Sorry, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think September 5th, so whatever today is.
Sorry, it's just like again time is
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But like I think about like I wrote on my list last year of like for 2025 like what I wanted to happen and whatnot, and I was just like find a producer to work with. I didn't even know if I was gonna release a song, and I wrote that song like the end of 2024. Not even thinking I was gonna record that one, but then I found this producer, and I was like, bada bing, bada boom, here we go, and it's like happening. And then when I think about when I started music 4 years ago, like couldn't even contemplate writing a full song, and so it's just like for you, like it's the same thing with our art. Like it's always gonna be shifting and growing because we expect the most out of ourselves. But it's like also I've also finally gotten to the point of like calling myself an artist. That took a hot minute. You know, like an actual musician. So I think sometimes you have to have like reality checks. But that's the value of like finding your community and people who actually see you because they're just mirrors. So when you say all these good things about me or like you're excited about all these things that I'm doing, it's like, well, yeah, because we are on the same wavelength. Like, this is why we are in each other's life, because we're both doing things. You know what I mean?
I haven't had that. And even people I thought I had that with, it was
It takes,
competition.
yeah.
It was
You know what
weird.
you mean.
And then they were like, then I became a competitor, like not intentionally, but it's like you're trying to defend yourself.
so weird.
And you're
You're
like,
friends, but you're competing, and you're like, this just feels weird, and no one's saying it, and you're just like, are we even friends?
want to be a part of this, but
Yeah.
like it's a weird corner you
Yeah.
get pushed into.
Yeah.
And then you gotta.
But usually in those circumstances, I think that people are just trying to like feed off of you because they're insecure in some way, and they're like, you feel that competitive energy because they are feeling intimidated in some way.
Which I'm so oblivious, I'm
Yeah.
oblivious to most of the
Yeah.
time until it's like harmful.
I haven't experienced that like since I like left the wellness world, but I had like a friend or two that we were like friends, but I'm like, are we friends? Or are you just like trying to like wait until I like crash and burn?
Big in the wellness, my powerlifting world, which is I'm assuming very similar. Same thing. I was like, well, yeah, we're both competitors.
Yeah.
Like we're competing powerlifters. It's a sport, but you're competing. Like I have a number, like a max total that I want for me. I want you to achieve yours. We're in different weight classes.
Well,
Why does it matter?
I will also say, and this doesn't even just apply to like wellness powerlifting, but just like women in general. Like it's a blessing to find women who support women.
Yeah,
Because
genuinely
there's
don't
like
like you.
there's this viewpoint of like there's not as much space for successful women. It's like almost like society has like made us view other strong women, able women as a threat because of the scarcity, which real like the way that like things were structured in the past, but now these days I feel like there's far more opportunity for everyone. But it's just like trying to check yourself, and I've definitely had to let go of like some friendships like that because I'm like, girl, I want you to succeed. Like I would hope you'd want the same for me.
Yeah, and that was I think like astrologically when they talk about like they say that there's no longer a veil or like these
The veil is thin.
yeah, the veil is thin, and then now it's like, well, no, there's no more veil. That like we broke through the dome, we escaped the cave, Plato's cave. Like there's all these different metaphors that people are talking about with the energy. Because you're talking about people like it was structured differently. With this, I think that's like I forget what transit. It's an astrological thing. It has to do with. I'm pretty sure. I know Capricorn's involved in it. I can't remember, but like all the details. But there's like this illusion of scarcity, which is also deeply attached to the shadow element of the age of Pisces. Like there's a lot of different theories that have come out to describe what we're experiencing as a human collective. But it's the illusion of scarcity because like Gaia, the earth, is abundant naturally.
Yeah.
You're born with everything that you could ever need. And through us structuring society, we have made it scarce. And I think now, which is where all like the civil unrest comes from, is we are trying to bridge that divide.
Like we can feel something then.
And like, yeah, and read, because like, I think it's a grand human awakening to how disconnected we have been. But yeah,
I'll probably.
yeah, we can close this up. But yeah, thank you for chatting.
Woo!
I don't know how to end this except with my husband showing up. Babe, I know. Babe, you gotta make me a jingle.
Thanks for drinking the moon juice. Cheers.
Honestly, I'm going to make Todd, my tea guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make him make me a tea called the moon juice. It's
Oh.
on blend, and then I'm gonna. That's what we're gonna drink. And then at the end, it's thanks and we'll cheers.
Oh.
Isn't that? I think.
Okay, so stay tuned.